Last day of the storm.
City of Battle Creek, Michigan, and the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for March 5th, 2024. We thank you for being with us this evening. We're going to start our meeting with a moment of silence for our invocation. I'd like to call on Commissioner Smith to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And if everyone's able to stand, please stand for a moment of silence, and we'll have a pledge by Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Next item on our agenda is the roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris. Here. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Chair Banky.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
And Vice Mayor Sophia. Here. Thank you.
Thank you to all 9 commissioners for being here. Next item on our agenda is the proclamation and awards. And we have a very special proclamation for National Women's History Month 2024. We'd like to ask the city commissioners of the female persuasion to please accept this. And I will join everyone in front. Well, thank you very much. On behalf of the people of the city of Battle Creek, we would like to present this proclamation. Whereas women of every race, class, ethnic background have helped found the United States of America in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, social role in every sphere of our nation's life. And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, not only to secure their own rights and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor union movement, and the modern civil rights movement. And whereas today women are active in local, state, and national government and are holding positions of office in unprecedented numbers, reminding us that as we follow the footsteps of extraordinary women who fought for equality and for their voices to be heard. And whereas the city of Battle Creek is honored to celebrate local women in leadership roles, such as my fellow city commissioners, the city manager, the city attorney, the senior staff, city employees, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, CEO, the Battle Creek Public Schools superintendent, and the CEO of the Battle Creek Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few. And whereas the National Women's History Alliance 2024 theme for Women's History Movement, Women Who Would Advocate for Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion. This theme recognizes women who are committed to embracing everyone and excluding no one in our common quest for freedom and opportunity. Therefore, on behalf of the citizens of the city of Battle Creek, we do hereby proclaim March 2024 as National Women's History Month in the greater Battle Creek area. We encourage all neighbors to honor the role of women in our community and families and to recognize the significant contributions they make not only to our city, but also to the lives on a daily basis. Once again, I'd like to thank the 3 women that are here today and all the women that lead us in our community, especially the city of Battle Creek. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is two presentations. We're going to ask that the presenters adhere to either a 5-minute or at the most a 10-minute presentation. And we're running a business meeting, and we just want to make sure we get through our agenda today. So our first presentation, Madam City Manager, the ARPA Community Project presentation.
Yes, we welcome the Music Center, Susan Bielba, to the podium to talk about their ARPA award.
Thanks, Susan.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm Susan Balba, Executive Director of the Music Center, and wanted to share with you a little bit about the Music Center and about how we spent the award money that was gifted to us as part of the ARPA grant. So the Music Center includes the Battle Creek Symphony, the Community Music School, the impact-free after-school program for at-risk kids, and the Battle Creek Community Chorus. Here's a picture of our kiddos that we did a free concert for students last year. Next, please. These are some of the kids that attend our Music First program. Over 500 children under the age of 5 attended music classes last year with us, and we're very proud of that number. This is one of our recitals for the Community Music School. The Community Music School recitals have grown to the point where we now have 2 rooms full of parents and kids at each one of our recitals. This is a picture of our Sojourner Truth, some of our choir attendees. They did a little photo shoot with us recently. And this is the Battle Creek Community Chorus on the left and the Sojourner Truth Choir on the right, presenting a concert over the holidays with our new conductor, Greg Black. Our mission is building community through music. Just kind of interesting when you think about it, because what we're saying here is that the Music Center isn't really about music. It's not about making pretty music. Next slide, please. It's about using music as a tool to advance the individual and to open doors for others. And through that advancement of the individual, we help build the community. So the impact for 2023-24 overall, we had over 1,400 music students go through the program, 5,315 attendees of our Battle Creek Symphony Orchestra. That's the largest number of people attending any one program in Battle Creek area. We had 24,000 touch points. We had over 36,000 hours of music in the community. And what that means is if I attend a 1-hour program and Mayor Benke attends a 1-hour program, that means 2 hours of music in the community. So this is a tremendously huge number of our impact in the community for our last fiscal year. One of the numbers I am most proud of is almost $500,000 spent on artist salaries last year alone. This is salaries directly paid to artists, whether it be music faculty, music directors, musicians from the symphony, or guest artists. With a multiplying factor of 7, which I'm told is the number that we use here in Battle Creek, that money has gone through the community 7 times in different ways, whether it be at restaurants or gas stations or hotels or Airbnbs, and the total impact for last year alone was over $3 million. So we're pretty proud of that number. Next, please. So COVID affected us by over $660,000 over the last couple of years. That's in lost revenue and increased expenses. Lost revenue in being that we had to completely shut down for 1 entire year, with the exception of virtual. So we did virtual symphony concerts, virtual music lessons, etc. But otherwise, our stages were closed down. And then, of course, we had increased expenses. So thank you very much to the City of Battle Creek, our mayor, you all commissioners here, for this grant of $48,000, and for Laura Ott and others that helped us get through the process and then the reporting process at the end. We truly appreciate it. That $48,000 did a lot to help mitigate our loss over the last couple of years.
Thank you, Susan. Are there any questions of Susan?
She's not quite done.
I have a little bit more.
Okay,
Unless my
I'm
5
sorry.
minutes are up.
I just thought it concluded nicely with that.
Not quite. Yes, it is a nice conclusion. But I wanted to tell you what we did specifically with the ARPA funds. $39,000 spent on program salaries. $2,000 spent on administrative salaries. $1,500 on office supplies. $2,000 in training for program staff, and $3,000 for marketing and advertising. There's a couple of our instructors who attended the Michigan Music Conference, which we would not have been able to do without your assistance. This provided over 1,800 program hours, 100 administrative hours, 82 training hours for our 17 faculty. And here's a nice picture of one of our classes, or one of our private one-on-one classes. Little girl taking some practice on her piano. This is a symphony player talking to a little girl who didn't end up taking up clarinet, but ended up taking up cello. This is one of our recitals. You'll notice the young lady who is performing is a quad amputee. We do specialize in working with kids with special needs, whether they are physical or otherwise, and really encourage kids of any need to get involved in music. This is our free drum class for at-risk kids. This little kid here, I just thought he was so cute and having so much fun, I had to take his picture and include it here. This is our hip-hop class that we did one summer right after COVID. It was our first thing back after COVID. Sojourner Truth kids getting ready for a concert. Another recital. This is our Music First class. This is the instructor, Terry Noel, who is also the artistic director for the Community Music School. And this is Terry in a one-on-one. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Not a question, but a comment. Going through initially on your presentation, there was a picture of some very small children sitting on the floor. I have 2 daughters, older daughters, that are graduating from high school this year. And I remember them going through this program.
Oh, wonderful.
Been 16 years. They were maybe between 1 and 2 years old. And it was an amazing program. And they went on to be involved in music. One was a cellist and the other played viola through high school. They're graduating this year. And just some wonderful programming, especially for the children. It's, I think it has a lasting impact.
It really does. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. We know that kids that are involved in music lessons for 4 years have an average 100 points higher in their SAT scores, higher SAT scores, more opportunity to go to college, have help with college being paid for, and then of course lifetime earnings is in the millions of dollars once they graduate from college. So they're not all going to grow up to be magnificent musicians, but they do benefit from music, every single person. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rebecca?
Yes, I get to welcome up Dr. Nakia Bayless of the Village Network, also to share how they utilize the ARPA grant from the commission.
Good evening. First, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our mayor, city commissioners, city manager, assistant city manager, and city staff that helped govern and administrate the ARPA awards throughout Battle Creek. This was an unprecedented opportunity that our city made sure Battle Creek residents benefited from. And you can just scroll through ours because we operated at a systems level. So we wanted to make sure that the 10 organizations that we supported through our ARPA award, they're able to own the program and service level outcomes from their awards. So I'll speak from the systems level perspective that we were able to support. The Village Network of Battle Creek is an economic, education, and social justice advocacy organization that is honored to have been included in the Battle Creek ARPA benefit to the community. With the fiscal oversight, administration, and support of the W.E. Upjohn Institute for Employment Research, who I'd also like to thank, they were an integral partner in helping to support our support of 10 organizations through this ARPA award. We held ourselves accountable for helping to minimize the negative economic impacts of COVID-19 on Battle Creek's most marginalized residents through equitable access to resources, technology, and capacity supports that helped achieve a set of collective outcomes. Both immediate strategies and tactics were executed by community leaders of color to support communities of color with access to information, food systems and development, access to fresh food, workforce participation, business incubation and development, translation, and transportation. By equipping marginalized residents with the tools and resources they needed to become active participants in our local economy, we helped secure the sustainability of our community outcomes. Our work included 10 local community-based organizations: the Burma Center, Kingdom Builders International, the Southwest Michigan Urban League, New Level Sports Ministries, Truth in Action Ministries, the A. Philip Randolph Institute, Cool People, Big Homies Incorporated, Catching the Dream, and Rise Corp. The Village Network of Battle Creek operates across 4 economic justice priorities: access to education and credentials, reduction in race-driven wage and investment gaps, increased wages for low-wage earners, and an increase in underserved community participation in local economic development ecosystems. Accordingly, the ARPA resources and technical supports provided help the 10 community-based organizations fill critical project gaps, advanced and catalyzed projects towards sustainability, launch projects that would have otherwise remained only a dream or a vision or even a long-term goal, and mitigate hope fatigue of a dwindling local future workforce. The Village Network continues to provide technical support as needed to ensure optimal project success, sustainability, and ultimately an ongoing benefit to the community with the ongoing support of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation through our current grant. As a result of the ARPA award, historically, systemically, and chronically underserved and underinvested in leaders serving historically, systemically, and chronically underserved and underinvested in Battle Creek residents had unprecedented access to resources and support that allowed them to execute expenditures for underinvested in spaces and unfunded programs that increased or created new revenue streams and provided access to information. Subsequently, many are continuing to increase their capacity, reach, and impact. Hence, the return on this type of strategic economic justice investment will be ongoing and reflected in our local GDP, gross domestic product, gains through increased economic participation in the nonprofit sector and as prepared by the nonprofit sector in Battle Creek as a result of this ARPA award. So I thank you. And I'm usually long-winded, so that's why I wrote it and read it to the letter so that I can be available for questions. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bayless. Are there any questions of Doctor? Thank you very much. You did a great job. We appreciate it. Thank you. Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions?
There were none.
Petitions, communications, and reports?
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This is a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and receiving public comment on the proposed 161 East Michigan Avenue Brownfield Plan.
We'll declare the public hearing open. Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Any commission comments? We'll declare the public hearing closed. Next item on our agenda is public comments regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make a public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolution you are speaking to. Now, this is not the general comments at the end of the meeting. This is just the comments regarding our consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Yes, Autumn Smith.
I just had a comment about 382. Is that being processed through risk management by any chance? Is that the department that handles the fee bond and insurance schedule? Because I'm curious about the risk of some of the insurance that we may be taking on with some of the things that are being discussed to be passed, not necessarily in this meeting, but in previous meetings and possibly future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Autumn. Are there any other public comments at this time? John Kennefic, please.
Today is March 5th, 2024. My name is John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue. I have 2 resolutions I'll be talking about. The first one is 382. Let me read it to you. A resolution seeking approval for the amendment to the 2023-2024 fee bond and insurance schedule for the Binder Park Golf Course. In the backup material to that resolution, it says these words under proposal, but to be clear, it has always been able to, the Binder Park Golf Course is what they're talking about. But to be clear, it has always been able to operate at a positive net income. I don't know who came up with that concept or that sentence, but they don't have a clue of what they're talking about. In 2016, the City Commission approved $50,000 additional to be applied to the Binder Park Golf Course. Between 2016 and 2017, a sale of $172,000 was taken in by the land sale of a piece of property. That $172,000 was then transferred to the Binder Park Golf Course. While this was going on in 2017, the Commission very generously set and spent $425,000 for brand new gasoline golf carts, while at the same time they were selling off the 105 used electric golf carts with their chargers. A tune of $159,000 went back into the system of Binder Park Golf Course. I would really like to take a look at the loan they've taken out, what the interest was, and how much the citizens of Battle Creek have put themselves in debt. Now, resolution, next one. Resolution 379. Basically, it's very simple. There are 4 people buying properties from the government of Battle Creek. The total cost of all of these is $75,500. One of those properties is in Emmett Township. It turns out that the city government of Battle Creek back in the day purchased that property for $1. Now, there are 3 other Newton Township properties that are being sold on this resolution. Unfortunately, the Newton Township treasurer, the assessor of Newton Township, and the county clerk couldn't figure out where these properties are because they're not on their systems, and there were 5 full pages that you'd have to go through just to determine where these things were located. So here's my question. If there's profit from these 4 properties of $75,500, will the City Commission take that profit and lower the taxpayers' costs since you're taking $75,000 more? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments? Yes, David. David Moore.
I'm David Moore. I'd like to comment a little bit on the golf course. There's a lot of money we put into that. I just said here a minute ago, a lot of money is put into these organizations. It's other things I think are more important than a golf course, I think.
Thank you, David. Any other public comments? Seeing none? Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, or commission comment regarding meeting business. Is there any commission comment?
I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions or items that we need to discuss on the consent agenda? Seeing none, would you please vote on the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 380. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The 161 East Michigan Avenue Brownfield Plan for the Justice Service Center Mound Removal Project consists of 3 parcels totaling approximately 15.49 acres of land located north of Michigan Avenue, east of Division Street North, south of East Van Buren Street, and west of Elm Street in Battle Creek, Michigan. This plan will allow the Brownfield Authority to reimburse 161 East Michigan Avenue Brownfield Plan for the cost of eligible environmental and non-environmental activities needed to safely redevelop the land. The Brownfield Plan, if approved, provides for the use of tax incremental financing to reimburse 161 East Michigan Avenue Brownfield Plan. The proposed brownfield incentives is needed to make the removal project economically viable.
I move for the approval of Resolution 380.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 380. Are there any questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 380? Resolution 380 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 381. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
In the fall of 2023, inspections of 3 bridges in the city revealed cracking and spalling of beams, deck surfaces, and unsealed fixed joints. While the deterioration of these bridges presents no hazard at this time, rehabilitation is needed to stop further deterioration that could present dangers to life and property. Allowing these conditions to continue will eventually require bridge closures or restricted weight limits. Repairing these bridges before deterioration proceeds to that stage can avoid these lengthy closures and weight limits and will allow the bridges to be repaired at lower cost. City staff requests support for preventative maintenance on the Emmett Street Bridge over the Battle Creek River and Capitol Avenue Northeast Bridge over the Battle Creek River, and a superstructure replacement for the Burnham Street Bridge over the Kalamazoo River. This resolution seeks support for the rehabilitation of 3 Battle Creek bridges and authorizing the city manager or city employee designee to seek federal and/or state financial participation for these projects through the grant application process.
I move for the approval of Resolution 381.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 381. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 381? Resolution 381 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 382. Madam Clerk.
Since 2018, fees at Binder Park Golf Course have increased by 5.3%, while during that same period, the Consumer Price Index has gone up 22.1%. Faced with escalating expenses and critical short and long-term capital needs, golf course staff are recommending an increase of approximately 10.6% for a combination of greens, cart, and range fees, along with memberships for the upcoming year. Details on the specific fee increases recommended are attached to the resolution, along with information on the short and long-term capital needs at the course. If approved, this resolution will amend the 2023-2024 fee bond and insurance schedule to provide for an increase in fees at Binder Park Golf Course.
I move for the approval of Resolution 382.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 382. Are there any comments, clarifications, or questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on 382? Whoops, we have a question.
It wasn't a question as much as a statement. Commissioner O'Donnell and Commissioner Lance serve on the Golf Course Advisory Committee along with myself, and we had a great presentation and a discussion last week regarding this, and that we've been able to hold the prices fairly steady, 5% over the last 5 or 6 years, in the face of everything else around us going up. Is pretty amazing. 10% still keeps us, I think the Consumer Price Index number was cited there, still keeps us below what the average cost of everything else has gone up. The golf course is in a great financial position. Here in the next few years, they will be paying off considerable debt, the bond, and it's going to leave us in a much better position. And I think these additional funds, they wouldn't be recommending them if they hadn't done the market studies to say, hey, our customers are willing to pay this, and they look at other golf courses, public and private, in the region, and we're still very competitive on this. So I'm very supportive of it. It was a recommendation of our committee to support this as well.
Thank you very much for your report, and thank you to the committee members. Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 382? Resolution 382 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comments. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, David Moore.
David Moore, 182. 181 is a good resolution, but the best one on there is something that will benefit everybody. Repairing those bridges and those streets, that will be a benefit to everybody. It'll make the roads safer and people's safety. And that's why the golf course, I think the people, it doesn't involve everybody. Once they could afford to pay golf, they got good wages they can support these golf courses better than they do. But this is some necessity that repairing our roads is the best proposal on there, because that's something above everybody, everybody's safety, and making things all around better for Battle Creek. Thank you.
David, are you going to Dairy Queen tonight?
I hope so.
Okay. Are there any other public comments? Yes. Steve Frisbee, please.
Steve Frisbee, Life Care Ambulance County Commissioner, and now candidate for the 44th State House District. One of the reasons I'm running is legislation that passed recently that I forwarded on the concerns to many of the community leaders. It involves home rule in regarding to alternative energy projects. Currently, you have the ability to say no, and all entities did until the law was enacted, to say no to alternative energy projects such as wind or solar. With the passing of that legislation, they took that ability for you to say no away, including what was at least one attorney's opinion, the ability to overrule home rule, which you have enjoyed as a city. So things like that of losing local control have led me to file and run for state office. I think local control is good. It's not a one-size-fits-all that always works coming out of Lansing, and it needs to be recognized for that. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out, votefrisbee.com, and I hope I can get your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, we'll go to the back row, and then we'll come up to Autumn Smith.
Good evening. Christina Smith, 75 Keith Drive. I'm here to speak about the bus. The mood on the bus, the riders on the bus, that mood used to be panic and frustration with the bus cuts, but now it's just contempt. And you should probably know that, how you're hurting people and how you're making them feel about this city. Transit is a big part of how people are feeling about Battle Creek. When I first moved back here 4 years ago, a friend told me Battle Creek has just been going down, down, down. They live in Marshall. And I didn't know because I wasn't around, but I can see there's a big problem here, that the city doesn't care about people who ride the bus because they don't have as much money as you do. A lot of them have no recourse at all. And the reputation Battle Creek is making for itself is escaping city limits. I met a woman in Kalamazoo the other day who said she was thinking of moving to Battle Creek because it's smaller, less busy, and then she heard about what's going on here and the transit problems and how people are treated, and she decided against it. That's not a good sign. I met a woman who's part of a young family, a husband, a wife, a school-age son, and a toddler. And she told me the bus system is basically useless. She said they can't afford a second car. They can afford one good first car, but insurance is so expensive, cars are so expensive, that's all they can afford is the one car. And her husband uses it to commute to Ann Arbor, sometimes during the week, which means she has to use the bus system. She lives in Piper Park, and frequently she's at the Y with her toddler doing toddler programs. If she misses the last bus in the morning, she has to wait 2 hours with a upset toddler at the Y to get a bus. So she carries the toddler and all of their equipment back home to Piper Park, and she's not a happy resident of Battle Creek. I think you really are generating a lot of ill will as a city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Thank you. Autumn Smith, please.
Good evening. I'm going to comment on something. I know we've had people in the past recently comment about housing, low-income housing and stuff like that, but my God, if you look at Indeed.com, refugee resettlement, illegals. There's a position, if you want to work at CAA, they're helping fund the invasion. So we can't take care of our vets, we can't take care of our homeless, but by golly, they're willing to open up homes and house the illegals. How patriotic is that? Disgusting. There's also other charitable organizations that are handling children and stuff like that, unvetted. Bethany Christian Services, Good Samaritas, Catholic Social Services, all this stuff. It's right there. It's right in your face. So there's no question of, is this happening or is it going on? It's happening here, and it's being funded by us and in our community. So that's issue one. Issue two is I've had some people in the community talk to me about issue with the water. One person mentioned something about they got their water bill, and they did notice that it was significantly higher, but it wasn't necessarily the water usage that was higher, it was the sewage that was higher, and he realized he had had something with a garden hose or something leaking and stuff like that. But what they did, he said, I don't know how they figured this out. If my water was leaking into my yard, it wasn't affecting the sewer. Why did they take my water bill and just multiply it by 4 and charge me like a $400 sewer bill on top of my $100 water bill? That doesn't make sense. I told him, don't pay the bill. Once you agree to pay it, then you're agreeing to that form of corruption and theft. Another thing is the water readiness fee. That didn't used to be on there until Perry Hart came here. Could you guys please tell me what authority you guys had to authorize that? Implied, express, apparent, or direct? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Kathy Antea, and then we'll go to John Kennefick.
Thank you. Kathy Antea, Park Ridge. While I recognize our city has some challenges, housing being one of them, indeed, I must remind everyone in the room that people are not illegal. People may be here undocumented or without proper paperwork, but people are not illegal. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. John?
Today is March 5th, 2024. My name is John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. I'm going to be speaking in regards to February 6th commission meeting, resolution number 355 that has already passed. I'll read you the bottom line of it. And basically it says the Calhoun County residents are paying property taxes. And this is basically what this is about. It says funding balance for this project is $180,000 plus an additional $168,000 designated matching funds from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. And this is the part where I'm going to tie in on. Trust fund grant to build a permanent bathroom at anybody's playground, which is over by Bailey Park. I'm sure it makes it a lot easier for having a nice bathroom and whatever the cost is. But then it was brought to my attention, and I photographed these photographs yesterday at Feld Park bathroom. This is a close-up of the men's bathroom taken yesterday. If you'll notice, there's a padlock on the door. This is a picture of the women's bathroom taken yesterday. You'll also notice a padlock on that door so no one can use the bathroom. It was also explained to me that last year there was a porta potty out there, so that sort of solved the problem. But I am kind of curious if this is going to be a future situation at anybody's restroom in anybody's park at Bailey Park, to have something similar going on. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to have it out there. I'm just saying there are results of having doors, restrooms being padlocked isn't really solving the problem. Now you're either going to fix them and maintain them, or you're going to say, no, we're not really interested. You'll have to deal with that some other way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, any commissioner comments? Commissioner Ballard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to reiterate what John just said about Fell Park. You're talking about putting up a new bathroom over at the across from the baseball field, and the bathrooms remain locked. And I hear the reasoning is because people are destroying what's inside. Why in the world would we ever think about building another one when we don't even do anything with the one in Fell Park? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and sharing your thoughts about city government. I'd like to see the young people here also coming to visit, so thanks for your visiting us. One thing about the golf course and other attractions that are here in Battle Creek, they're here for us to bring people in to spend more money. As we saw earlier, when the music was talking about the area bringing people in, that money gets changed over 7 times. So if we want to focus on one item and say it's costing us too much, it's not. It's helping our community out 7 times. People are going out and they're going into the restaurants, they're shopping in the local stores, they're staying overnight in our hotels, visiting their friends just to come out for something like that. So I just want to thank the commissioners for understanding that we needed to have a little increase in that because of the cost that it takes to maintain a business nowadays. but just to bring in art and our local community. And then the next thing is our downtown hotel. I got the pleasure to tour that. And when that opens, how many more people are we going to bring into downtown? We're going to be ready for this. And I see that coming up soon, that we're going to be ready for lots of wonderful changes in our downtown. It's going to be Battle Creek revisited, re-enjoyed. The Phoenix will rise. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other? Commissioner Simmons?
So I didn't want to pull it from the consent agenda, as I didn't want to delay the meeting, but just on Resolution 379, we were selling some parcels that weren't even in the city of Battle Creek, and I'm aware of some others. I know in Springfield, next door to where it used to be a territorial brewing, it's now the Long Island Cafe. The city owns a piece of property. We own a lake in Berry County. I'm wondering if the staff, without tasking with too much, can provide us a list of properties that we own, not even within our city, and what our plan is, why we're holding on to them, or maybe we want to unload them all, or what purpose they serve the citizens of Battle Creek. If that's something the staff has easy access to, I'd be interested in knowing a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Commissioner Morris.
As Commissioner O'Donnell alluded to, we do have two very special young ladies sitting up front. One of them is named Miss Nyla. Did I say that right? I have not met her yet, but she was interested in meeting the mayor and the commissioners. So if we, fellow commissioners, could go and introduce ourselves after the meeting, I'm sure she would really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Morris. I really appreciate that. We would go down there. Are there any other commission comments? Seeing none, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for attending.